Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiv Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 19. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami, text 156 onwards. So Mahaprabhu is instructed Rupa Goswami about the process of bhakti, how the bhakti lata bead is sown in the heart of a devotee fortunate soul, and he nourishes it with Shravan and Kirtan, and the bhakti lata grows, and it goes through the coverings of the universe, through Brahmjyoti, through all the Vaikuntha planets, and ends up in Golok Vrindavan at the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And there it produces the fruit of love of God. But the watering process of Shravan Kirtan goes on. It never stops. Now further, Mahaprabhu is speaking. Yadi Vaishnav aparad uthe hati mata, upade ba chinde tar sukhi jai pata. If the devotee commits an offense at the feet of a Vaishnava, while cultivating the creeper of devotional service in the material world, his offense is compared to a mad elephant that uproots the creeper and breaks it. In this way, the leaves of the creeper are dried up. So everything was fine so far. But Mahaprabhu is saying somebody commits this offense, Vaishnava offense, then his creeper is sure going to be dried up, because the mad elephant is going to enter the garden and it's going to uproot all the creepers. One's devotional attitude increases in the association of a Vaishnava. Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. By his personal example, Narottam Das Thakur stresses that a devotee must always remember to please his predecessor, Acharya. The Goswamis are represented by one's spiritual master. One cannot be an Acharya, spiritual master, without following strictly in the disciplic succession of the Acharyas. One who is actually serious about advancing in devotional service should desire only to satisfy the previous Acharyas. H.I. Gosaiya Muitaradas. One should always think of oneself as a servant of the Acharyas, and thinking thus, one should live in the society of Vaishnavas. However, if one thinks that he has become very mature and can live separate from the association of Vaishnavas, and thus gives up all the regulative principles due to offending a Vaishnava, one's position becomes very dangerous. So this is very, very serious. Offending a Vaishnava. Offenses against the holy name are explained in Adi Lila. Giving up the regulative principles and living according to one's whims is compared to a mad elephant, which by force uproots the bhakti lata and breaks it to pieces. So why is it compared to mad elephant? Elephant itself is very, very powerful and nobody can stop it. And if the elephant becomes mad, it's like, definitely there is no way of stopping or controlling a mad. And if the mad elephant gets into a garden full of only creepers, This Bhakti Lata, it's called Lata, not a tree. I mean, for a mad elephant, even a tree is of no use, no strength. Tree has no strength. And what to speak of a creeper? Doesn't even need a mad elephant. Any little boy can pick it up and throw it away. So the mad elephant offense, or the example is given so that we understand nothing, nobody can stop the mad elephant, nobody can control. So one has to be very, very careful in uh, in not committing a Vaishnava offense, Vaishnava aparadh. Such an offense is especially created when one disobeys the instructions of the spiritual master. This is called Guru Avagya. The devotee, therefore, must be very careful not to commit offenses against the spiritual master by disobeying his instructions. As soon as one is deviated from the instructions of the spiritual master, the uprooting of the Bhakti Lata begins, and gradually all the leaves dry up. And gradually means it takes time, obviously. And of course, whatever bhakti one has done, that cannot, that doesn't go away. It just, there's a big obstacle, big stop in his progress of bhakti. And also, when Prabhupada said gradually, although it means it takes time, Krishna still gives that person a chance to rectify his mistakes. And rectifying the mistake is very simple. When one understands that he has committed an offense or offenses, all he has to do is just go back for forgiveness. And if the person who's offended forgives, then fine. But it can happen. It can happen. Because see, Krishna is in the heart of everybody. He is sitting as Brahma. If he sees the person who is asking for forgiveness is not sincere, he's not seriously asking, it just his sincerity is only lip deep, or I mean, just from outwardly he's asking, then Krishna can punish him to the extent Krishna wants. So the thing is, one got to be very careful not to commit offense. And if one has committed, then one has to be sincere in asking for forgiveness. And as Mahaprabhu told, who did he tell? Chapal Gopal. Did he tell Chapal Gopal or Devanand Pandit? I believe one of these two, who had committed offenses against Srivas Thakur. So his recommendation was, with the same mouth that you have used to drink poison, drinking of poison was to speak harsh or bad against a devotee. You should drink, with the same mouth, you should drink the nectar. Means one should glorify the devotee. But that has to come sincerely. Just like we very, very sincerely actually speak against a Vaishnava. Nobody jokes around in that part, but when it comes to glorify that devotee, his personality, his service, or whatever, one should be sincere. That's all. Krishna is sitting as Paramatma in everybody's heart. He knows what's going on. Cannot hide it from Krishna. Further, Mahaprabhu said, Tate mali yatna kari kare avaran, aparada hastira yaiche nahaye udgam. The gardener must defend the creeper by fencing it all around so that the powerful elephant of offenses may not enter. While the bhakti creeper is growing, the devotee must protect it by fencing it all around. The neophyte devotee must be protected by being surrounded by pure devotees. In this way, he will not give the maddened elephant a chance to uproot his bhakti creeper. When one associates with non-devotees, the maddened elephant is set loose. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Asatya Sangatyaga Vaishnavacha. The first business of a Vaishnava is to give up the company of non-devotees. A so-called mature devotee, however, commits a great offense by giving up the company of pure devotees. The human being is a social animal, and if one gives up the society of pure devotees, he must associate with non-devotees. Means we do want some association. By contacting non-devotees and engaging in non-devotional activities, a so-called mature devotee will fall victim to the mad elephant offense. Whatever growth has taken place is quickly uprooted by such an offense. One should therefore be very careful to defend the creeper by fencing it in. That is, by following the regulative principles and associating with pure devotees. So fencing the creeper. Two things Prabhupada said: following the regulative principles and associating with pure devotees. Then we would be able to protect our Bhakti Lata. Why association of pure devotees or association of senior devotees is recommended? See, many times, if not all the time, if we start to deviate, or if we have committed an offense, but thinking that I have not committed, the association of serious, sincere devotees, senior devotees, they can tell us where we have made the mistake. They can guide us. That is what they are there for, to guide us. It's just we have to be humble enough to take the guidance, take the instructions, and work. So that is why this association, very important. And as Prabhupada said, man is a social animal. So if we are not associating with devotees, we will go and take association of non-devotees. And then definitely we cannot make progress, because their viewpoint, their thought process, their lifestyle is completely different from devotional lifestyle. Even if one thinks that there are many pseudo-devotees or non-devotees in the Krishna consciousness society, still one should stick to the society. If one thinks the society members are not pure devotees, one can keep direct company with the spiritual master. And if there is any doubt, one should consult the spiritual master. However, unless one follows the spiritual master's instructions concerning the regulative principles and chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, one cannot become a pure devotee. By one's mental concoctions, one falls down. By associating with non-devotees, one breaks the regulative principles and is thereby lost. In the Updeshamrita of Srila Rupa Goswami, it is said, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagra jan sangascha laulyam cha chadbir vinashyati. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. Atyahar means eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. Prayasascha, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. talking unnecessarily, prajalpa, about mundane subject matter. 4, practicing the scriptural rules. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. Or it has another meaning, rejecting the rules and regulations and working independently or whimsically. So that doesn't help one make progress. And then association with worldly minded Jansangasha, that who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, and lowly, being greedy for mundane achievements. Actually, all these inclinations, they come in when we stop associating with pure devotees and following the instructions. Kintu yadi latar sange uthe upashak, ukti mukti vanchayat asankhya taraleka. Now another problem, even if we are not committing offenses and we have protected our bhakti creeper, still there could be another problem. Sometimes unwanted creepers, such as the creepers of desire for material enjoyment and liberation from the material world, grow along with the creeper of devotional service. The varieties of such unwanted creepers are unlimited. Now that's another problem. And what is this unwanted creepers? What is it called? In English, it's called weeds. In Hindi, kharpatwar. Yeah, kharpatwar. Means it's, and many times it might look like that bhakti creeper, bhakti lata, or even better than bhakti lata. But it is a weed. It's an unwanted creeper. And what is it? Creepers of desires for material enjoyment. We might think, I'm doing bhakti, and whatever is growing is bhakti, bhakti lata in my heart. It might look like bhakti, but chances are it is not. And what are different kinds of kharpatwar or unwanted creepers are? Nishid achar kutinati, jiva hinsan, labha puja pratisthadi yat upashaka. Some unnecessary creepers growing with the bhakti creeper are the creepers of behavior unacceptable for those trying to attain perfection, or diplomatic behavior, animal killing, mundane profiteering, mundane adoration, and mundane importance. All these are unwanted creepers. So when people say, no, it's so easy to do bhakti, they should read this chapter. There is a certain pattern of behavior prescribed for those actually trying to become perfect. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we advise our students not to eat meat, not to gamble, not to engage in illicit sex, and not to indulge in intoxication. People who indulge in these activities can never become perfect. Can never become perfect. Therefore, these regulative principles are for those interested in becoming perfect and going back to God. Kutinati or diplomatic behavior cannot satisfy the Atma, the soul. It cannot even satisfy the body or the mind. The culprit mind is always suspicious. Therefore, our dealings should always be straightforward and approved by Vedic authorities. If we treat people diplomatically or dupliciously, our spiritual advancement is obstructed. So one is kutinati, diplomatic behavior. What is this diplomatic behavior? Or as Prabhupada said, duplicious behavior. Means, and in the material world, politicians do that all the time because their whole aim, whole goal of the politicians is somehow attain power and somehow remain in power. But that's not the goal of a devotee. So for politicians to stay in power and to gain power, they can say or do anything in the world. But if devotees also follow this principle, then what's the point in performing devotional service? Our attitude is, I want to be servants of Krishna. Politicians don't have this attitude. And those who engage in, while performing devotion service, engage in this diplomatic or duplicitous behavior, how are they going to make progress? They might justify their behavior by saying, oh, I'm doing this for Krishna, I'm doing this for the society, for progress of the movement, for service of Prabhupada. They can say anything. And another point is, those who are engaged in this kind of behavior, duplicitous, diplomatic, and obviously in that one has to tell lots of lies. He cannot speak the truth. And psychology says, if we have this kind of mentality, this is the energy inside us, this kind of negative energy is there, then one, we will attract those people who have this negative energy. And secondly, even if there are honest people around us, we will think they are there to cheat. Because this is the kind of energy I have developed inside me. So it's going to attract all such kinds of people around. I can think I'm making progress, or I'm so popular, I'm so successful. It's not a progress. So one has to be straightforward. Of course, one has to be, it is said, Satyam Brahvat Priyam Brahvat. Means speak the truth, but speak in a palatable way. But not in a duplicitous. And then it is Jiva Hinsan. Jiva Hinsan refers to the killing of animals, or obviously those who are devotees, they don't like to eat meat. They're not going to eat meat. But then another thing Prabhupada says is, to envy of other living entities. Jiva Hinsan. We become envious of others, and these are Kharpatwar, weeds growing along with Bhakti Kripa. And sometimes they become more prominent. And we become so envious of other devotees making progress that our Bhakti Kripa is going to dry up. The killing of poor animals is undoubtedly due to envy of those animals. The human form is meant for the understanding of Krishna consciousness, for inquiring about the Supreme Brahman. In the human form, everyone has a chance to understand the Supreme Brahman. The so-called leaders of human society do not know the real aim of human life and are therefore busy with economic development. This is misleading. Every state and every society is busy trying to improve the quality of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. This human form of life is meant for more than these four animalistic principles. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending are problems found in the animal kingdom. And the animals have solved these problems without difficulty. Why should human society be so busy trying to solve these problems? The difficulty is that people are not educated to understand this simple philosophy. They think that advancement of civilization means increasing sense gratification. Means all this mundane profiteering, mundane adoration, and mundane importance. They all come in this package. Just trying to improve our material life. Better eating, better mating, better defending, better sleeping. That's all. If we look at everybody's activities, this is all it boils down. There are many religious propagandists who do not know how the ultimate problems of life can be solved. And they also try to educate people in a form of sense gratification. This is also Jiva Hinsa. So this killing. Why? Jiva Hinsa means in this way, they're trying to stifle the progress of soul on the path of spiritual advance. They're making the living entity more and more entangled in material advancement or sense gratification. So this is also called Jiva Hinsa. Real knowledge is not given, and religionists mislead the general populace. As far as material profits are concerned, one should know that whatever material profit one has must be abandoned at the time of death. Unfortunately, people do not know that there is life after death. Therefore, mundane people waste their time amassing material profit, which has to be left behind at the time of death. Such profit has no eternal benefit. Similarly, adoration by mundane people is valueless because after death one has to accept another material body. And then he becomes more and more entangled in getting this material adoration from others. Material adoration and titles are decorations that cannot be carried over to the next body. In the next life, everything is forgotten, and everybody has to start from scratch. Material. So when we are making progress in bhakti, Maya is going to test us, and the test will be a severe or strict test for the things we are more attached to. That is where she's going to test us more. If we are more attached to material adoration, or she will test whether we are clinging on to that adoration part or we are clinging on to Krishna's lotus, Krishna's holy name. What are we more attached? All these obstructions have been described in this verse as unwanted creepers. They simply present obstacles for the real creeper, the Bhakti Lila. One should be very careful to avoid all these unwanted things. Sometimes these unwanted creepers look exactly like the Bhakti creeper. They appear to be of the same size and the same species when they're packed together with the Bhakti creeper. But in spite of this, the creepers are called Upashaka. A pure devotee can distinguish between the Bhakti creeper and a mundane creeper. And he is very alert to distinguish them and keep them separate. But for beginners like us, it is very difficult to separate them, to identify them. And that is when we get into trouble. And Maya really is going to test us. If we think or if we claim to be this or that, and among our peers or among devotee circle, oh, I'm such a good whatever, I would do good kirtan, I do good bhajan chanting, or I would do give good lectures, so whatever. That is when Maya will test. Only thing we have to, that is why Mahaprabhu said, no, Trinad Abhi Sunichena. First instruction, Trinad Abhi Sunichena. More humble than the blade of grass. Blade of grass, nobody cares for it. People trample on it. They spit on it. They can do anything, but the blade of grass does not protest. And doesn't even get up and say, I am this, I am that. Never. So if we want to do our bhajan properly, we have to adopt that mood. We get trampled upon by others, we get spit upon, or people can throw things on us. In whichever way, got to be tolerant and got to be humble. Because the ultimate aim is not to retaliate, not to take revenge. Ultimate aim is to make progress in bhakti. So then we should not deviate from that goal, that target. Seka jal paya up shaka badi jaye, stabda haya mool shaka badi te na paaye. If one does not distinguish between the bhakti creeper and the other creepers, the sprinkling of water is misused, because the other creepers are nourished while the bhakti creeper is curtailed. If one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra while committing offenses, these unwanted creepers will grow. One should not take advantage of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra for some material profit. The unwanted creepers have been described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He states that if one hears and chants without trying to give up offenses, one becomes materially attached to sense gratification. One may also desire freedom from material bondage, like the Mayavadis, or one may become attached to the Yog Siddhis and desire wonderful yogic powers. If one is attached to wonderful material activities, one is called Siddhi Lobhi, greedy for material perfection. One may also be victimized by diplomatic or crooked behavior, or one may associate with women for illicit sex. One may make a show of devotional service like the Prakrit Sahaja, so one may try to support his philosophy by joining some caste or identifying himself with a certain dynasty, claiming a monopoly on spiritual advancement. Thus, with the support of family tradition, one may become a pseudo-guru or so-called spiritual master. One may become attached to the four sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Or one may consider a Vaishnava to belong to a mundane caste of greed. One may think this is a Hindu Vaishnava and this is a European Vaishnava. European Vaishnavas are not allowed to enter the temples. One may think like that. In other words, one may consider Vaishnavas in the terms of birth, thinking one a Brahman Vaishnava, another a Shudra Vaishnava, another a Malech Vaishnava, and so on. One may also try to carry out a professional business by means of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra or reading Srimad Bhagavatam, or one may try to increase his monetary strength by illegal means. Also, one may become a cheap Vaishnava by trying to chant in a secluded place for material adoration, or one may desire mundane reputation by making compromises with devotees concerning one's philosophy or spiritual life. Or one may become a supporter of a hereditary caste system. All these are pitfalls of personal sense gratification. And there could be many more also. Just to cheat some innocent people, one makes a show of advanced spiritual life and becomes known as a sadhu, mahatma, or religious person. All this means that the so-called devotee has become victimized by all these unwanted creepers, and that the real creeper, the Bhakti Lata, has been stunted. And all these, as Prabhupada writes in the beginning, these upashakas, the creepers, may look like just the Bhakti Lata, but they are not. And we can try to justify our behavior, our thought process. But it is said that then we cannot see it, but others can see it, that we are deviating. And definitely Krishna can definitely see it. So we try to rectify ourselves. If not, then Krishna will rectify. But when he rectifies, then it's very painful. It hurts a lot. But even at that time, if somebody, we all have tendency to develop these creepers. So one should not deride that devotee who's going through some tough time, trying to uproot those creepers, or Krishna is uprooting those. That is when the compassion comes in. Devotee is very, very compassionate. He still tries to help. He tries to help another devotee who's in need. And we are here to help conditioned souls. So why not to help somebody who has made some progress? Just try to help. Prathame upashakara kare chedan, tabe mula shaka badi, yae vrindava. As soon as an intelligent devotee sees an unwanted creeper growing besides the original creeper, he must cut it down instantly. Then the real creeper, the Bhakti Lata, grows nicely, returns home back to Godhead, and seeks shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna. If one is misled by unwanted creepers and is victimized, he cannot make progress back to Godhead. Rather, he remains within the material world and engages in activities having nothing to do with pure devotional service. Such a person may be elevated to the higher planetary systems, but because he remains within the material world, he is subjected to the threefold material miseries. So, even though with the creepers also he can be elevated to higher planetary systems, but not out of this material world. And even from higher planetary system world, he has to come back to this earthly planet to make progress. And that is where we get stuck. So devotional service is easy, but these creepers make it hard. And then on top of it, if there is a mad elephant often, then the progress is really, really difficult. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody have any questions or comments? I guess we all are scared now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Just one question on when Lord Krishna gave the first message, or the entire Srimad Bhagavad Gita he delivered to
Arjun.
was the first one, right? I think in Arjuna also he told that Surya had given the first Bhagavad Gita
Oh, okay,
delivered.
yeah.
Yeah. So Prabhuji, what was the reason that he was only selected? Was it because that he was Surya, Lord Surya was the first one who appeared before the Srishti? Was it the reason that he was, because there should be a patra, right? Like Arjuna was a patra for it uh, to get this delivery of Bhagavad Gita. So why was Surya was chosen for it?
I don't really know, but because Suryadev, see, this creation, now every evening of Brahmaji, or at every night when night starts, the creation up to certain planets, up to Swargaloka, everything is gone. And when in the morning, again, Brahmaji has to do the creation. Lower planets, Earth and lower planets. So when the Lord spoke this Bhagavad Gita to Suryadev, and he said Vivaswan, right? So Vivaswan is now in Brahma's one day there are 14 Manus, and for every Manu, the sun god changes. The position remains the same, the person in that position changes. So when Krishna spoke first to Suryadev, he spoke to this Vivaswan, who is in Vivasvat Manu's time period. So not previous Manus, this Manu's time period. So when we say Suryadev is the first one, first creator created Suryadev was different than this Suryadev. So it goes in so many cycles. And Surya Dev, then Suryadev instructed to Manu, Manu to Ikshvaku, Ikshvaku to further down. So I guess, Lord wanted the Manu to learn properly, so he can rule properly. Does it make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I get a logic out of it that Surya, like when the sunrise happens, everybody wakes up, and when sunset happens, everybody go to sleep, or it's time to just wind up your work and just take a rest. So because Lord Sun gives a reference to wake up and wind up, and everyone just follow that routine on a daily basis. The Sansaric people I'm talking about, the worldly people. So that is the reason, maybe because the first person of any house should be given this instruction of mm, of why he should follow it, because this is a science. People say, right, it's a science. Bhagavad Gita is a science, a way of living. So if he does his activity correctly, then only everybody will follow it. मतलब मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है प्रभु जी, लॉजिकली जो मैं इसका कंक्लूजन एक निकाला,
Yeah, but see, Surya Dev, the sun god, is not among earthly human beings. He's in
True,
a
Prabhuji.
heavenly kingdom. And over there are no day and night just like we have. So we are referring to Surya Dev comparing to human beings on earth.
Prabhuji, I mean to say that there is an impact of Surya Dev, right, on Earth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Day and
That
night.
is one way, yes. I mean, Suryadev light means knowledge also, and people waking up. But one has to see with the whole perspective how everything fits into who is
So,
Suryadev.
actually, this is again while I was because I keep कहीं कहीं से मैं ना प्रभु जी संदर्भ लेता हूँ. I take conclusion out of it. So this was on the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, somewhere else, not the Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita, but there where Arjun, Lord Krishna says to Arjun that the reason of giving this lecture to or this delivery to Vivashwan was because of this. लाइक जो लॉजिक में बता रहा हूँ कि जैसे ये चीजें बट आई कि सन गिव्स अ एग्जांपल दैट sunrise happens, sunset happens, and accordingly people act. They go to work, they come back, they wind up, they take rest. And because and there was one more liner that first sun appeared and then the entire Srishti slowly, gradually, that the entire Srishti was formed. That is the because he was the first person, so the priority was on top, that he should not the priority, I would say, because when we say priority to sabko dena padega, priority 2 3 4. So the first person who comes, that's why it was delivered ऐसा कुछ है प्रभु जी. But I wanted to hear from you also that कि मतलब और क्या आ सकता है कि मतलब is there any other way around, another reason, any other choice from Lord Krishna. So
Well, I said what I understood.
but मुझे अच्छा I found that answer प्रभु जी in your explanation, so thank you for that.
Okay, Prem.
Hare
Chalo,
Krishna.
you all have a safe, wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shila
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna.